is welcome to the Fixtures Podcast. It returns after our 1 week hiatus.
Thanks, Mark.
So we're back.
Mark is not here with us today.
Mark today.
He is at a board meeting receiving his Illinois State Scholarship Award.
Congratulations to Mark. Shout out to him. But now let's get to the football.
We have to introduce the panel, Ryan.
It's me and you.
Who's you?
Who's me?
The foreign exchange student? You? From China?
Who's on first? All right, so let's kick it off with Watford 0, Tottenham 0.
Good result for Watford. Tottenham, bad result. But you probably already knew that.
So what's going on with Watford? They're playing well now.
It's the manager switch. It's ever since the manager switch, they've been good.
So they're looking at the 0-0 draw with Spurs, 3-0 over Bournemouth, 2-1 over Wolves, 3-0 over Villa, 1-1 with Sheffield, 2-0 over Man United. What the heck? They're on fire.
Yeah, they are. It's the new manager. And also, I mean, they've had an easier schedule recently, I feel like.
Although, as of today, they did actually lose to Villa today. So we're going to cover game week 23 and half of 24. We're recording on Tuesday.
The one time that I started bringing Watford players in, and the first week I bring Watford players in, they lose 2-1.
And that, unfortunately, with today's loss, brings them back into the relegation zone. Actually tied alongside West Ham and Bournemouth on points. With Villa, since they beat Watford, they scraped clear, and they are now 2 points clear of the relegation zone with 25 points alongside Brighton. Can Watford keep the good string of games up, or are they still doomed?
I think they can keep the good string of games up. I mean, I think this week versus Aston Villa was a bit of a slip-up, and I think they're going to recover from this and learn from it. But they've been playing really well recently. Everyone on their team's been playing well, and the manager. But I hope the manager, like the new manager, because I feel like this happens whenever any team gets a new manager. But I hope the new manager, effect doesn't wear off, you know?
Sure. And what's up with Spurs? 1 win in their last 5, 2 defeats, 2 draws.
It's the Mourinho effect.
Is it, though? I thought he was supposed to win you a trophy first.
Did he win United a trophy?
Well, the best that team could do was second place.
Did they even get second place?
Yes, they did.
When?
The first year he was there.
Really?
They got second, yeah.
I didn't even know that, to be honest.
Yep, the first year he was there, they got second place, and then they self-destructed. And he even said after that the best I could have done with that squad was second place.
Oh, yeah, City got first, right?
Yes,
City
got first that
17-18?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 17-18, because then City won 17-18, and they won 18-19.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I know Chelsea won 16-17.
So next game let's talk about Spurs' other fixture. Have they played yet? No, they play tomorrow. So we won't talk about Spurs' other fixture. But we'll talk about Brighton 1, Villa 1. Goals from Trossard and Jack Grealish again getting on the score sheet.
Jack Grealish, I think, is getting into better form now, and I think he should probably leave Villa soon if he wants to save his career.
And interestingly enough, Villa still fighting pretty hard and missing who I think is a pretty big component in that team, which is John McGinn, who is out injured.
Danny Drinkwater also made his debut for Aston Villa.
Yes,
over the
coming
weekend
from Chelsea.
Yeah, hopefully
Chelsea legend.
Hopefully he sticks to drinking water. You know, he's had some bad history in the past with not sticking to drinking water and getting some DUIs. But hopefully he can stay clear of that and get his career back on track. Because I think he is actually a talented player, and I think he doesn't focus on his football, I feel like. But I think if he did, he would actually be decent. Like when he was at Leicester, I felt like he was the best. And then after he won the title with Leicester, I feel like he just went downhill from then. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree.
Because I feel like he still has the talent from that era, and he's not that old. He's pretty.
How old is he? I thought he was super old. No, 29.
Yeah, I mean he's basically in his prime years. I mean, You shouldn't be being on loan from Chelsea at Aston Villa when you're 29, especially when you're a Premier League champion.
Right. So John McGinn out until end of March.
I'm glad to see Danny Drinkwater getting some playing time, though, because he was on loan at Burnley, but Chelsea recalled him from loan there because he did not play a single game. But hopefully he actually gets some playing time at Aston Villa.
So that's a 1-1 draw with Brighton and a 2-1 win over Watford for Aston Villa. Some pretty impressive results that pull them out of the relegation battle for now. Well, not the battle, but the out of the relegation zone at least for now. And actually today we'll jump over to Brighton's game where they lost 3-1 against Bournemouth. Is Bournemouth back to being decent, or was this a fluke?
I would say it's probably a fluke, especially since it's versus Brighton. I don't think they'll be able to consistently keep this up.
Well, and let's also consider that today was kind of a wacky fixture list because so many people were being rested.
That is true.
Rest in peace, my fantasy team. 4 points from 4 players.
Pathetic.
Yeah, so I think that they definitely used that, but they needed to win that game in order to even really have a chance. I mean, they're currently sitting on 23 points, tied with Watford. Could they get out of it? Yes. Will they? Remains to be seen. But I don't know. They need some big changes there. Excuse me. But Callum Wilson getting on the score sheet. And Harry Wilson, both Wilsons, which is good because Callum Wilson has not scored in a good while at this point. So we'll leave it there, and we'll come back to the other Bournemouth game in a minute. But let's jump to Manchester City 2, Crystal Palace 2.
This is a great result for Crystal Palace. I think any team would take a draw versus Manchester City at this point, honestly. I think any team in the Premier League would take a draw versus Manchester City. Would you agree with that? I think even Liverpool would take that at this point because it doesn't matter.
Sure, yeah. I think most teams absolutely would. And and I don't think City would have taken a draw against anybody. They're not going to be happy with this result. Cenk Tosun scoring his first goal for Palace, I believe, since his transfer. Sergio Aguero getting 2, continuing to be in really good form at the moment. And then the Fernandinho own goal to equalize for Palace there.
Yeah, it was a great birthday celebration when Fernandinho put that in the goal. Great birthday celebration for Pep Guardiola.
But coming back to today's game, back to good old City with a 1-0 victory over Sheffield United. Aguero getting on the score sheet. Gabriel Jesus started and looked a little shaky, but Aguero came on and kind of almost saved City a bit, I think, in this game from a potential another draw.
Yeah, he scored 2 goals.
One, and we're talking about the Sheffield United game from today.
Oh, I didn't
Sorry, yeah, we moved.
I didn't even see the results of that one.
Yeah, 1-0 City. Aguero came off the bench and scored the only goal.
As Aguero does.
Yeah. And Palace is doing fairly decently right now. They are currently in 11th, not where they want to be. String of draws, 4 draws in their last 5. Not as good as they want to be, but not terrible.
I think they'll take it. I think they're trying to finish out of relegation. I think that was their objective this year, was to finish outside of relegation, and I think they will accomplish that with how they've been playing.
And they could easily finish top 10.
Yeah, that would.
I think they're tied on points right now with Arsenal and Everton and Newcastle, so yeah, it's a respectable place, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. And I think, are they a game behind? Yes, they are. From some of the teams. They're on oh wait, no, hold on. My computer's freaking out. No, they're on 24 games, so they're a game ahead actually than some of the teams. So because they played today, which means they played. They lost to Southampton, 2-0 to Southampton. Southampton, meanwhile, doing fantastically at the moment. A 2-0 win over Crystal Palace, which brings them into a whopping 9th place.
I still really want Southampton to get relegated this year.
I don't think that's happening.
I
That
really
seems
want
a
them
little
to.
Far.
I hate Southampton.
Ralph Hasenhüttl is a good coach, though, man. He knows what he's doing. And
You know who's not a good coach?
who?
David Moyes.
We'll get to West Ham. We'll get there. But Southampton is doing really well right now. They have 3 wins in their last 5. And Hasenhüttl is working wonders with that team. They held on to him when I think there was some doubts, and it was pretty impressive. So moving on from there, we have the David Moyes derby. West Ham 1, Everton 1.
I think that's exactly how I would have thought that game to played out.
Goals from Diop and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Mark's favorite player. It was a pretty even game, really. 11 shots from Everton, 12 shots from West Ham. Almost 50-50 possession. A pretty even game here.
Yeah, I think that's how everybody thought it was going to go, too. Honestly, I would say that that's exactly the result I would have expected from two sides who should be doing way better than they are, I would say.
Which team do you think is happier with that result?
West Ham. I think they're more in crisis mode right now than Everton.
Yeah, without that win, they would have been in the relegation zone.
You mean draw?
Oh, yes, draw. Sorry. Yeah, draw. Without that draw, they would have been in the relegation zone. However, they are 2 games behind at the moment, so give them a little bit of leeway.
Probably going to lose both of them because one of them is versus Liverpool.
Yeah, I think so. That's the game on next Wednesday. It's against Liverpool, and they play Leicester tomorrow, so not easy fixtures. What do you think of David Moyes? Was that a good appointment?
No.
Good. That's the quality content people come here for. What do you think of on the Everton side of things? Was Carlos Ancelotti a good appointment for that team?
Yes. Carlo Ancelotti was a better appointment than David Moyes. I think any team would take Carlo Ancelotti over David Moyes.
Absolutely, I would agree with
Carlo
that.
Ancelotti is a very good manager. David Moyes is not a very good manager.
I would agree with that. And I think most people would. Everton has 1 loss in their last 5, 2 wins, and 2 draws for the record. So a fairly solid run of games. They're looking pretty respectable at the moment.
Yes.
Speaking of not looking respectable at the moment, Arsenal 1, Sheffield United 1. Martinelli scoring for Arsenal and John Fleck scoring for Sheffield United.
Martinelli, I would say, is one of the best youngsters in the Premier League.
I would agree with that.
He's fantastic. He scored 10 goals for Arsenal this season. I would honestly say Martinelli is honestly their most influential player right now. Well, influential in a good way, because, I mean, they have a lot of players that influence the game in a bad way.
So speaking of which, we once again get to see potentially the best defensive pairing the Premier League has ever seen. Mustafi and David Luiz in the back again for Arsenal. Why? Why does this keep happening?
Because they don't have center backs. Socrates is out.
He is. Rob Holding on the bench. And if we had Mark here, I'm sure he'd be screaming about why is Mustafi anywhere near the first team, which I would agree with.
I mean, who else are you going to play?
Well,
in today's game, after David Luiz got sent off, spoiler alert, they played Xhaka in center back with Mustafi, and he was actually playing really well. So I wonder if they're going to start doing that regularly, or at least for the next game when Luiz is suspended.
If you're Arsenal, knowing that it's transfer season,
You buy a center back.
do you buy a center back?
Yeah.
Who do you buy?
Or you recall loan for Saliba.
Okay. Who would you buy as your center back?
I need to think. You put me on the spot here.
We'll come back to it. You think about it.
I would buy Dayu Upamecano or Zagadao. Either of those two. Literally any like French center back that's playing in the Bundesliga is probably just amazing.
Okay.
There's so many. They're all like they're like all the same person. There's so many French center backs that are just ridiculously good that play in the Bundesliga who are like super fast, super strong, and like super good. And they all just play in the Bundesliga and they're all French.
Well, there you go. There's Nicky's transfer profile for you. French center backs playing in the Bundesliga.
That are young. They're all young as well.
Look out, Pavard.
Not that one.
Pavard's good.
Yeah, but he just moved to Bayern. I mean, he's not going to move away. I was talking.
I don't think Arsenal's going to be able to get Pavard off Bayern.
Yeah, I think they could get a Upamecano off of Leipzig though. Maybe not this season because Leipzig's in a title contending season. But they could probably get Zagadou off of Dortmund, or however you say his name. It might be Zagadou or something.
Sure. Moving on to double red card game. Norwich City 1, Bournemouth 0. The relegation scrap to end all relegation scraps. Steve Cook and Ben Godfrey both getting sent off. Timu Puki scoring a penalty. And Norwich still not really looking good.
I think Norwich's fate is cemented at this point.
I think so. They're pretty far down.
I think they're going down.
They're pretty far down. They've won how many games?
If they go down, do you see
4 games?
If they go down, do you see Timu Puki leaving?
No, I don't think he's that good.
Yeah, I think he was overhyped. I think he was really good.
I think he was super overhyped.
I think he was really good for the championship.
Yeah, he can score. He could score, but people
know.
have
Their
those.
team just
People
isn't
have those seasons where
Yeah, I
they're
know.
just a monster. Look at Danny Ings right now. I mean, is Danny Ings Danny Ings going to sign for Real Madrid over the summer?
No, he's going to sign for Manchester United.
That would be such a Woodward transfer. Oh,
That would be
God.
exactly what
and
they would do.
And they'll pay like
100%
$80
they would do
million
that.
for him.
Yeah, but that's 100% a transfer they would make.
Oh, and they'd pay like ridiculous amounts of money.
I know.
Oh God. Yeah, that just like hurt my soul to think about that. That yeah, they would absolutely do that. So yeah, no, I don't see Pookie really going anywhere. I don't think he's that good. I don't think Danny Ings is really that good, and I don't think anybody who actually watches football would tell you that those players are really, really good. They're good for what they are.
They're inconsistent.
Danny Ings is a decent striker. Is he a world-class striker because he's on a hot run of form? No. Is Timu Puki a world-class striker because he scored a bunch of goals in the championship? No.
Tammy Abraham is, though.
To be determined.
He's already broken the number 9 curse. It's done.
Well, we'll get to Chelsea.
He's already scored more goals than Fernando Torres did for Chelsea.
So, and also, since we're talking transfers, let's double back here for a quick moment. Manchester City. What do they? Who do they need, and who should they bring in?
I need to think.
Well, I would say they need a center back pretty badly.
Yeah, I know. I know they need a center back, but I need to think because they're not going to go for some youngster. They want to sign someone who's already ready to play. I mean, Upamecano would be a good signing for them as well. Maybe they could probably end up getting, if they wanted to, they could probably steal Matthias Delight away from Juventus. Because I mean, he's not been playing that well at
That
Juventus.
would be a move. That would be a bold move.
That's definitely the type of move that City would make, though.
Potentially, they took João Cancelo from Juventus, and that hasn't really panned out all that well.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that's something they would do. And he's out of form right now, and he's out of favor, really, at Juventus.
But Juventus doesn't have that many center backs, with Chiellini being out for the season and potentially out for the rest of his career.
I mean, yeah. But I think they want to get someone else. I don't think they really like Delight that much. I don't think he fits their system that well.
No, not really. He's just a big name and overhyped. Speaking of overhyped players.
No. I think he is definitely very good. I don't think his play style fits the system.
I don't think he's that good.
I think he's that good.
I don't rate him that highly. You think City goes for Delight?
Samuel Umtiti as well. He's also out of favor at Barcelona right now.
Sure, yeah.
Umtiti would be a good signing. He would be pretty cheap too. Or what's the other French center back at Barcelona? What's his name? I can't remember his name. Look it up. He would be a good signing too. I know they just signed him, but he would be a good signing as well. Yeah, I would say that would be a good signing as well. Or Pavard, or
Pavard's not going there, I don't think. I mean, you could maybe snag one of PSG's center backs off them.
Marquinhos.
Yeah. I can't find it. There it is. Squad. Tomato?
No. Where'd he go? He's Langlet.
Oh.
Langlet. It's Clement Langlet. He's also very good. He's honestly better than Umtiti. That's why Umtiti is not playing anymore, and that's why he's out of favor.
All right. Well, there you go.
I knew it started with an L. But
sure. Yeah, I could see them going for one of PSG's center backs maybe, but I think Laporte is almost back, so it's not quite as big of an issue. Spurs. Who should they sign? What do they need, first of all?
A replacement for Eriksen?
So the way their line... Well, I mean, I think their biggest thing that they need is a backup for Kane.
Yeah.
With Kane being out for the rest of the season and no real striker. I mean, they played Lucas as striker in their last game, and it's...
I think
because you have other midfielders. I don't think midfield is really an area that Spurs needs a ton of help in. Because they have Dele Alli, Harry Winks, Lo Celso. Like, they have good players there.
I'll get another striker. I would honestly.
They do not have another striker.
I would get if I was them, I would get Moussa Dembele from Lyon.
That would be very good. I think that would fit their system well. I think, and that would I think that would be highly beneficial. That would be a smart move. Let's see what they do with it, though. Are there any other teams you wanted to touch on for transfers?
Chelsea.
Before we get to Chelsea.
Oh,
because I know you'll talk up Chelsea quite a bit. Cool. So Southampton 2, Wolves 3. Wolves continues to impress. 2 for Raul Jimenez. 1 for Neto. They are currently sitting in 6th place with 34 points, tied with United, 1 point above Sheffield United.
I think Wolves is really trying to finish top 5. They're trying to cement that Europa League spot.
Who do you think has a better chance of breaking into the top 4 at this point? United or Wolves?
Top 5?
Top 4. If one of them was to break into the top 4, who do you think it would be?
I think the top 4 is cemented at this point.
I don't think it's quite as
Look at the point
6
gap.
points. That's 2 wins. You don't think Chelsea could drop 2 games?
I don't think Chelsea's going to drop 2 games in the same week that United wins 2 or Wolves wins 2. They're too inconsistent.
Okay. Well, which one of those teams do you see finishing in 5th?
I think Wolves finishes in 5th because I think United's literally on fire right now, and Wolves, on
3
fire
wins
in
in
the
their
bad
last
way.
5.
Man United's on fire in the bad way. Wolves are I would say they're on a better run of form. They're in better form than United, personally.
Well,
I think.
according to the wins and losses here, United has 1 extra win over Wolves. Wolves has 2 wins in their last 5, 2 losses and 1 draw. United has 3 wins and 2 losses, no draws. So do with that what you will. All right, so now let's talk Chelsea here. Newcastle 1, Chelsea 0. What happened, Nicky? Walk us through it.
It's the same thing that's been happening to Chelsea. It's the same problem we always have. It's versus the smaller teams. We don't show up. We play down to their level because it's the problem with having all the youngsters on our team. We think that we can go into games and we think we're going to win automatically, especially versus the smaller teams because we don't think they're going to be much of a challenge. And then they come out trying to win, and then we slip up and we don't play as good as we should be. It happens time and time again. It happens almost versus every small team we go. And you know what? I think it was a little bit unlucky. I think that game honestly should have, if you look at the stats, Chelsea just dominated Newcastle the entire game. Dominated.
That would be 70% possession, 19 shots, 4 on target.
That's
655 passes to Newcastle's 286.
That's absolute domination. If you looked at just the stats, you would think Chelsea won that game 3-0, wouldn't you?
The shots on target.
You don't look at that
great.
Stat. Not that stat.
That's not a great stat though. That's problematic, I would say.
Yeah.
If people aren't hitting the net.
It happens.
19 shots.
I know it happens. It happens. It really does. But I think we're not clinical enough in front of goal, and we get lazy towards the end of games. We do that every game. We get lazy towards the end because we think the game is over, but there's still that time, and we keep conceding. It happened both games that we're going to be talking about today, the Arsenal game and the Newcastle game, where we got conceded on right in the last 5-10 minutes of the game. And it's because we fall asleep. We think the game is done and dusted, and it's not. It happens every time. It's the same thing with the 2-2 draw versus Arsenal.
Yes, let's jump to that 2-2 draw with Arsenal. So Chelsea 2, Arsenal 2. David Luiz getting sent off.
That red card was hilarious. Secret Agent Luis. I think Chelsea also should have won this game, but it was the same thing.
I would say the same thing, considering they were playing against a side with 10 men for a good 70 minutes.
No, yeah, it was 100% the same thing. It was, what happened was, it always happens because we go really hard the first half. We are very much a first half team, but we fall off during the second half. The first half, we usually score a goal, maybe 2 if we're lucky. And then after that halftime, we go, okay, we can back off a little and relax, And then, oh shoot, Conte accidentally slips. He's the last defender. Martinelli's in. Did you see that goal, Ryan?
No, I did not. I did not watch this game.
Conte was the last defender, and he just totally slipped, and Martinelli got through and just 1v1 the keeper. It was bad defending. And then after that, that was in the 60th minute-ish, around that. And so that's when we get the wake-up call. Oh, shoot, we're not winning this game as easy as we are. It happens every single Chelsea game. I see the exact same thing. We score in the first half. We concede at the 60th minute point. We freak out. We go ultra attacking for the last 30 minutes or 20 minutes till whenever we score. And then we finally score. We finally scored in the 84th minute, I think.
Yep, 84th minute.
84th minute. And then we freak out and we go, yeah, we won the game. And then we back off and then we go into relax mode again. And then when you look at that, here comes Team Abraham limping into the box trying to defend Hector Bellerin, pushing Emerson Palmieri out of the way. That's exactly what he did. Team Abraham couldn't even walk after that goal because he got hurt during the goal. And then he was in back trying to defend because we had 2 strikers on the field. We had Batshuayi on the field because we brought him on trying to score. So Batshuayi was up. Team Abraham went back to defend, and he was marking. He went to go mark Bellerin, And Emerson was already marking Bellerin. And so Emerson backed off because he went, oh, Tammy's got him. And then Tammy couldn't keep up with him and just fell over because his ankle was hurting or whatever. And then we conceded because of that. And that was the only reason why. Also, Emerson is not Chelsea quality.
So let's talk transfers. Transfer ban is lifted.
I don't even think Lampard knows that, honestly.
So if you were in charge, who do you sign?
Ben Chilwell. He's been left out of the Leicester squad. He was left out of the Leicester squad over the weekend. I think his arrival is imminent to Stamford Bridge. I would say I think he's number one target, honestly, just because Emerson is just not Chelsea quality. Every time I see him play, I say the same thing. It's because he makes the same mistakes. He's not solid enough. He's a good substitute. He's like Victor Moses. He's literally the new Victor Moses, pretty much.
Sure.
So Ben Chilwell, left back, is the number one. Number two, I would say Edison Cavani.
Why?
Because that's exactly what we need at this point. Tammy Abraham is very good. He's very skilled, and he can finish decently. He is lacking a lot of things that come in experience, and he needs someone to show them because we don't have a striker that's like a good role model and like is very talented and very consistent and knows a lot. I mean, the closest we have to that is Olivier Giroud, and he's just
gone,
kind of a jerk, and also gone. But Edison Cavani would be the perfect thing because we want a short-term solution to help cement our place in the top four this year, which would be Edison Cavani. We want someone that can show has a similar play style to Tammy Abraham, which would be Edison Cavani. And he would be able to teach Tammy Abraham a lot, and he would teach all the youngsters a lot at the club. And I think that's exactly what they want. Plus, we can get him for $20 million because his contract's up at the end of the year. And PSG said they'll sell him for $20 million because Cavani submitted a transfer request.
Remember that time that Chelsea had Gonzalo Higuain?
Well, I told you from the moment Gonzalo Higuain signed, I told him he was going to be bad.
That was weird.
I told you he was going to be bad. I told you.
He's doing well for Juventus this year.
I know. It's because it's the Serie A. The Serie A, I mean, El Shaarawy looks like Neymar in the Serie A. Come on. Serie A is not a competitive league.
Yes, it is. Oh, my God, yes, it is.
It's not.
It's just a different play style.
Where El Shaarawy looks like Neymar.
No, he doesn't. He's not even. El Shaarawy hasn't been in the Serie A for like 2 years now.
1 year.
At least a year and a half. He left Roma in mid-season.
No, he plays in China.
Yeah. Because he wasn't good.
He was good. El
was
Shaarawy is
not
good.
He was not good at Roma.
He's good.
He was not. There's a reason that Roma sold him.
He was good at Roma.
Because he was trash.
No, and then who else Chelsea signs? I would like to see Jadon Sancho. I mean, we don't need him, but for some reason we're heavily linked with him just because he's friends with everyone on the Chelsea team. Yeah, we don't really need him.
Yeah, but he's linked with every team in England right now.
But, I mean, that would be nice to see. I really don't want Wilfried Zaha at all. Yeah, honestly, I would be fine if we just signed Ben Chilwell and Cavani this window. I would really like a new center back.
I think that's asking a bit much for a January window.
Well, we supposedly have this $400 million war chest.
Well, yeah, but you need to have players available, which they aren't right now.
I know. No, I think long term we want a center back. Long term we want a center back and a left back, and I think Ben Chilwell is a fantastic solution for our left back because he's young and he's very, very talented. But center back wise, we do need someone else, and I think striker-wise, we need a short-term solution for the rest of this season and like the first half of next season, I would say, which would be Cavani.
All right, sounds good. Moving on. Burnley 2, Leicester City 1.
Wow,
what is happening to Leicester City?
I don't know. I mean, I think it might have been just a hiccup, but I mean that's 2 games in a row. It's a pretty big hiccup.
Well, I think it's because they lost Ndidi.
Yeah. I mean, Ndidi was a very important player to them. How long is he out?
I'm not sure. Let me look it up.
Also talk well before we get
transfer.
too far into Leicester while he's looking this up. Tammy Abraham went off, or he did not go off. He he obtained an injury during the last half of that game, a little knock to his ankle, and also Christian Pulisic is out for an indefinite amount of time with an injury he sustained during training, which looks to be like a tendon or a muscle injury. But I don't know when he'll be back. So
I think Ndidi is back in training. I think he's just not fully fit.
yeah, well, I think when they get Ndidi back, I think they'll be okay. I think this was just a little hiccup without him, but I think they'll be back focused and ready to play once he gets back.
Potentially. But I don't know. They haven't really looked themselves these past few games, and losing to a pretty bad Burnley side.
I think it's also the fact that Ben Chilwell's been left out of the squad recently, because he was a very important piece of their defense. You know.
Right. And after 4 losses, Burnley wins a game, pulling themselves out of the relegation fight for the moment. 4 points clear of relegation zone right now.
Good for them. Good for them.
But that's a pretty small gap. I don't know. I could still see them going down. I
definitely could as well.
I think they're kind of my dark horse pick to go down.
Mine is still Southampton.
I think Southampton's safe at this point. But who knows? So, all right. And let's move on to Liverpool 2, Manchester United 0. Now, Nicky, let me just walk you through a scenario here for a moment. It's the 93rd minute. You're up by 1 goal against Manchester United. You're playing goalkeeper. Manchester United miskicks the ball. You have retrieved the ball. What, as a goalkeeper, do you do?
You punt it up the field. It's the 93rd minute.
Do you hold on to it and kill time and then punt it up the field, or kick it out or something?
I mean, if you see someone making a run like Salah was and also calling for the ball,
or like a complete maniac, do you take the ball, immediately punt it up the field to Salah?
He called for the run.
Punt it up the field to Salah, and then just take off down the field to celebrate a goal that you know is coming.
Faith. I mean, Salah called for the ball. I mean, you can't give that to...
That was pure madness. That was insane. Like, what? It was amazing. It was fantastic. I love this team. Also, Van Dijk scored a beautiful header, despite being weighed down by a ton of United players. United really can't hit the net at all. They were really poor this game. I really don't understand why Pereira is starting. I don't think he's good. God, this is such
I have no idea how Solskjaer is still there.
This is such a bad team on paper. I mean, look at this. Look at this team.
Where's Pogba?
He's injured. He's been injured all season. Look at this back line. You have a back 3 of Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, and Victor Lindelof. That's your back 3.
Where's Wan-Bissaka?
He was playing right wing back.
Oh.
So Luke Shaw is not playing left back in this formation. Brandon Williams is playing left back. Luke Shaw is playing center back in a back 3. Then you have Nemanja Matic and Fred as your midfield pivot.
I mean, Matic is good. Where's Juan Mata?
Dude, Mata doesn't start. He was on the bench. He came on. He didn't do anything. You then have Pereira as your playmaker and Anthony Martial.
I would definitely start Juan Mata over Pereira.
Oh, absolutely. And then Martial and Daniel James as your attacking options.
I think Daniel James thought he was making a good move leaving Swansea for United. I would personally rather stay at Swansea and just tear up the championship.
So bad. I don't understand it, and I see people defend this team and say things like that, they're only a few key players away from being a great team. There are a whole mess of players away from being... I mean, Look at this team compared to Liverpool. In a combined 11 of these two teams, every single player you pick is from Liverpool. Is there one player you would pick from United in a combined 11?
Over Liverpool's 11 that's right there.
Yes.
Yes.
Who would you pick?
I would pick Harry Maguire over Joe Gomez.
No.
Yes.
No. Joe
you're
Gomez
saying
is
that
better.
because you're a Liverpool fan.
Joe Gomez is better
You're
than
saying
Harry
that because
Maguire.
you're a Liverpool fan.
I'm saying because I guarantee you Joe Gomez has more clean sheets than Harry Maguire.
That's because he's played less games.
Okay, and
he's also playing for a team. Look at the team he's surrounded by. If I was a defender in that team, I would be good too. If I had Fabinho playing in front of me,
Fabinho wasn't playing this game.
If I had
it was Hendo. Hendo
I
is
know,
playing
but
as
still, I'm
defensive
talking
midfielder.
about the other games. If I had Wijnaldum, Hendo, and
Well, then Joe Gomez isn't starting, and then you have Matip.
I know.
Would you pick Matip over Harry Maguire?
Yes.
Okay, so there you go.
But off of this side, I would pick Harry Maguire over Joe Gomez.
I wouldn't. But it's just a shockingly bad United team. And I don't think it's any surprise they lost 2-0. A lot of people were saying that they thought United could win. And I think that was wrong. I don't think they ever stood a chance. And I think that's about it. Are there any games from the second half from today's games we missed?
No. Do we have a website now or no?
No, not yet. There's a website in the works. It's not out yet. But maybe by the time this drops in an hour, it will be. Who knows? Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week, hopefully with Mark back. And, or will we be back next week? Because it's kind of a weird week. There's no games this weekend, right?
No, there is games this weekend.
Is there? No,
Yeah.
there's not.
That's what I heard this weekend. They're
There's
playing
no games
something
this weekend. There's
They're
games
playing something this
tomorrow
weekend.
and
Is it FA
Thursday.
Cup this
I think
weekend?
I think it's cup games.
I think it's cup games.
I think it is because then there's Liverpool on next Wednesday, and then the next run of Premier League fixtures is the February 1st. So we probably won't see you next week, everybody. But we'll be back the first week of February. So enjoy Premier League football this weekend.